The Cadaver Synod, when a dead pope was put on trial. In the year 897 AD, Rome staged one of the most grotesque and surreal trials in history. Known as the Cadaver Synod, it blurred the line between justice, vengeance, and madness because the accused wasn't even alive. Pope Formosus, dead for 9 months, was exhumed, dressed in papal robes, and dragged into court to face charges. Picture it: the Basilica of St. John Lateran, lit by flickering torches. The air was heavy with incense, but the sweet smoke couldn't hide the sickly odor of rot. Bishops sat rigid in their seats, nobles whispered nervously, and at the center was a corpse propped on a throne. His skin clung tight to bone, eyes sunken, jaw unhinged in a permanent grimace. A trembling deacon was forced to defend him, while Pope Stephen VI, his successor and bitter enemy, roared accusations like a man possessed. This is where you realize how wild medieval power struggles could get. And if you're fascinated by stories where politics, religion, and madness collide, don't forget to like and subscribe to Yahweh Stories. I'm 44. It helps us keep unearthing history's darkest chapters. To understand this horror, we need to rewind. Formosus was no ordinary pope. Before his election, he had been Bishop of Porto, a powerful but controversial cleric. Accused of ambition and betrayal, he was excommunicated, then restored, and finally elevated to the papacy in 891. His reign was marked by turbulence. Most dangerously, he crowned Arnulf of Carinthia as Holy Roman Emperor, defying the powerful Spoleto dynasty. That insult would doom him even after death. When Formosus died in 896, his enemies moved quickly. Pope Stephen VI, a close ally of the Spoletans, wanted to erase Formosus's legacy. The Cadaver Synod wasn't a mad whim. It was a calculated political strike. By convicting Formosus posthumously, Stephen could annul every decree, revoke every appointment, and strip power from those who owed their positions to him. It was nothing less than erasing a man's memory from history. The charges were absurd: perjury, coveting the papacy, abandoning his bishopric. Yet Stephen bellowed them with fury, pointing at the corpse as if it might rise and confess. The deacon assigned to defend Formosus barely whispered. Witnesses said the tension was unbearable. Some in the crowd looked away in horror. Others sneered in triumph. It was less a trial than a ritual execution of memory. The verdict was inevitable: guilty. In a grotesque ceremony of humiliation, Formosus's body was stripped of its papal robes. The 3 fingers used for blessings were hacked off. His papacy was declared void, his acts null, his ordinations invalid. The corpse was dragged through the streets of Rome, jeered at like a criminal, and buried in a common grave. Soon after, it was exhumed again, tied to weights, and hurled into the Tiber River. But Rome recoiled. Whispers spread that Formosus's body had floated to the surface and performed miracles. Outrage erupted against Stephen VI. Within months, riots broke out. The same people who watched the trial in shock now demanded vengeance. Stephen was seized, thrown into prison, and strangled. The trial of a dead pope had destroyed a living one. The Cadaver Synod left deep scars. Later popes rushed to reverse it, restoring Formosus's name and attempting to scrub the shame from the Church's record. Yet the damage was done. Europe had seen the papacy reduced to a grotesque circus, where vengeance trumped piety and corpses became pawns. And the chaos didn't stop there. In the years after Stephen's death, the papacy flipped violently. One pope annulled the Cadaver Synod. Another reinstated it, then another overturned it again. The Church lurched back and forth, trying desperately to bury the humiliation. Some chroniclers even wrote that Rome seemed cursed, racked by famine, earthquakes, and uprisings, proof they believed that God himself was disgusted. Beyond immediate revenge, the Cadaver Synod echoed through generations of clerical politics. Chroniclers, outraged or aghast, recorded the spectacle as both warning and mockery. The episode hardened factions, invited foreign princes to meddle, and turned Rome into a bargaining table where noble houses treated the papacy like spoils. Over time, the story became a cautionary tale, a grotesque lesson about ambition, ritual humiliation, and the fragile dignity of sacred office. Think about it. A pope tried 9 months after death, mutilated, condemned, tossed in a river, then avenged by a mob. It sounds like black comedy, but it was all too real. The Cadaver Synod remains one of history's strangest trials, a grotesque reminder of how far humans will go for control. And if you thought this was insane, there are countless more stories where history outdoes horror fiction. Stick with us because the past always has darker secrets to reveal. Like and subscribe to Yahweh Stories 44 for more of history's most shocking events.